What is going on, everybody? It's your host, Blaine Spencer. It's your other host, Joe Ciccoletti. The Final Whistle Sports Podcast is back for another episode. Couple of weeks off. We're really struggling on our consistency at the moment. The whole point of one of our things before we even hopped on was to set up our schedule moving forward.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But we're doing well. We're going to talk some U.S. Open. We were going to talk some NBA blockbuster trades. So don't you fret. We've got the content for you today. Joe, long time no see. How you doing?
Doing well, Blaine. Doing well. Representing Final Whistle Heavy tonight. I got the background. You got the hat on. We're looking great. We're looking great tonight. Representing this podcast well. Yeah, man. Good to be back. We took a little unfortunate time off. Just schedule gets crazy, man. Summertime, but sports is kind of slightly dead right now. I mean, it is the dead
Why,
zone
why,
period.
why, why, why do you got to be all sentimental and make us all depressed now in the middle of this episode? I
It
mean,
is.
I was gonna try and hold off on that feat, but now we are in the depression era of sports right
Yeah,
now.
you got baseball going on every single day, and you're like, all right, buddy, it's enough of that sometimes. And then you get occasional golf around here and there. Keegan Bradley winning today at the Travelers, good for him. Finally pulling out, winning on U.S. soil 5 years now. But yeah, it's just a quiet time for sports, but it's a busy time in life right now. So God bless.
Absolutely. I know we're actually going to start off with a little bit of golf. Not the Travelers, though.
Mm.
Since the U.S. Open took place the week before, we're going to talk about that. And it was not the names that we were hoping were going to be hoisting the trophy. It was Wyndham Clark, who takes it home, winning at 10 under par, beating Rory McIlroy by 1, Scotty Scheffler by 3, and Cameron Smith by 4. We all thought it was potentially Rickie Fowler's tournament to lose going into Sunday, but I think what happened on 18 on Saturday kind of rolled into his Sunday, and that kind of led him to fall off the map. Ended up finishing in a tie for fifth. Joe, how about this story about Wyndham Clark and Rory
Ooh.
McIlroy? Now, exactly, and Rory McIlroy yet again coming up short.
Now, I will say something to you here, Blade. Coming from the East Coast and it going on in the West Coast, I didn't like the Friday Saturday gig because it didn't end till like 10:30 at night here. However, I did enjoy the Sunday at like 9 o'clock. You're still watching Wyndham Clark about to hoist the trophy. I did enjoy that, I will say, because I got something to watch on Sunday night. However, however, actually, let me give before I say my point there. Let me go back to Wyndham Clark. All right. So Wyndham Clark, I keep saying who because I barely even know this guy. Right, comes out of nowhere, land. I mean, he had a good day on Thursday, shot 64, so great round for him, and then just kind of just progressed his way through the course. I mean, the U.S. Open pretty much told the Los Angeles Country Club, you better get your shit together. This is the U.S. Open. These numbers are way too low, and all of a sudden, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you didn't have many people shooting below 65, 66, no more. That was it. Greens were quick, rougher was thicker, hole placement was even better. Um, driving distance got even better, even longer. I mean, they had like a 280-yard par three for God's sake, or something like that. Um, but yeah, what are you gonna say? Kudos to Wyndham Clark, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't even know where he's from. I can't even give you that. Never even heard of this guy before. But let's turn it around again. Rory McIlroy once again can't hold his shit, chokes it out, and dude. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to say it, but like, is Ricky Bobby always?
It's all mental now here, man. It's
What
mental
does
for
Ricky
him.
Bobby say? If you're second, you're first to last. You know what I mean? So it's
First
just
loser.
he just dude. I've been hating Rory McIlroy more and more the last couple of weeks, and I know we talked about it here too when Brooks won, but like he's a joke. He's a joke. What can you say? You got to finish, dude. You haven't won a major in how many years now? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I got to get back to my other point though before we get more about Wyndham Clark. U.S. Open needs to be held on the East Coast. I don't care what you say. Here's my reasoning why. Both times it was out west, the last, 5 to 8 years, the scores have been significantly higher than having them on the East Coast. And when you watch U.S. Open, you want to see tough, hard-fought golf. You want to see these guys struggling. You want to see these guys struggling the way you do on Sunday morning, 8:30, when you're hitting your breakfast ball on the third hole again. That's what I want to see from these guys. But when you get them out west, they go out and shoot well, right? This week, or I'm sorry, when the U.S. Open happened 2 weeks ago, Rickie, Xander both shot the record in one round for the lowest at 62 under, or 62, excuse me. And then, if I'm not
62 under
mistaken,
is a great round.
yeah, that would be an incredible round. But the other one I'm talking about is the one that was in Oregon, and that's the one Bryson won. That one was significantly lower. I got to look it up. I don't remember the name of it. Was it Whistling Straits? Does that not sound right? That's
That's
the Wisconsin one.
Wisconsin, dog.
All right, let me look it up. You shoot the shit about Wyndham Clark. I'll take a look here. So
Yeah, as Joe does his Googling and fact checking. I think you kind of nailed it on the head though, as it pertains to Rory McIlroy. He absolutely obliterated the field from tee to green. The man couldn't buy a putt Saturday and Sunday. Man couldn't buy one. And that, like, his one, I think did he make 2 birdies on Sunday? I think it was 2 birdies, or was it just
Rickie?
one? Rory. I think because he birdied, his only 2 birdies were the par 5s, and that was because he drove the green in 2 and he 2-putted.
No. I remember. He only had one.
Rory
He
only
went
made
like he
one
had like
birdie.
10 straight like pars after that.
He birdied the first because he drove the green and 2-putted. I remember that.
And then he like parred out for a while there.
Yeah.
But I don't think he birdied anymore after. And I know from 15 on, he didn't birdie at all. So
yeah. No, so right then and there, it kind of showcases his inability with the putter when it really matters. And tee to green, especially in these major championships, it's all about your short game and the flat stick. And I think I think it's all mental now for him. I think he's got a more of a mental barrier than he's had in a very long time. Because now it's, especially these last couple of years, he's been the runner up or in the top 5 consistently. And I think in at least 3 or 4 of these majors. So it's not like he's knocking on the door, but he can't not buy a putt in the most crucial moment when he needs one. And it wasn't like Wyndham Clark was going to run away with it. We were texting. We're all like, you even said it, and I quote, we're all begging for a Wyndham Clark collapse here, aren't we? And what did he do? He goes back-to-back bogeys, giving Rory an opportunity on the last 2 holes to make something happen. I think and then it is a good story. Like Wyndham Clark, everything that happened with his mom, he's going to quit the game of golf. He ended up finally getting his first win this year. And then everything kind of clicked this at LA Country Club for him. But I understand your East Coast perspective as it pertains to these courses, as Pebble Beach, where Gary Woodland won. He kind of tore up the place, right? The marine layer makes these courses a lot more gettable in California.
What's the one? It was like super dry. The grass was like really light. It wasn't green. It was like yellow. And I remember these guys.
You're thinking Jordan Spieth at Chambers Bay in Washington.
Yeah, all right, yes, that's it. I'm sorry. Yes.
Where they shot
I apologize.
Spieth won at I think Spieth won at 5 or 6 under, I think, because Dustin Johnson 3-putted on 18 to lose it, remember?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think that's the one you're talking about. You're thinking the Washington one in Chambers Bay, where it looked like it was an absolute freaking links course.
Yeah, it was terrible. I hated it. I'm like, what's going on out there? Like, what's going on? Like, why does it look like this? It shouldn't look like this. Yeah. Like when you think of a U.S. Open course, right? And I get it, right? Like these guys can out-bomb it, so like it is what it is. But when you think of a traditional U.S. Open course, it's a little bit shorter, it's a lot tighter, rough's a lot thicker, greens are quick, and have undulating all over the place. Boom, 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 boom. You shouldn't be shooting 62. I'm sorry, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And to have 2 guys do that, and then have multiple guys shoot 63 or 64, That's a bad look. And that's why the US Open called them in and said, you got to figure something out. I don't care what you got to do, but you got to figure something out. These guys cannot be shooting that. That's why I think people over, the East Coast has great courses to do that.
So, what is your? Do you think it's because of how these West Coast courses are set up and how they're more second shot golf courses? And then because like LA Country Club, their fairways were a mile wide, right?
Bro, 18. Wyndham Clark shot it 50 yards right. It was still in the fairway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A second, they made everything. They made the LA Country Club is a second shot golf course. The tee shot is absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
no. So my question to you would be, you want it? You're thinking your only style that you think of an open course, because now we got to remember Pinehurst is completely different now too, right? They did that full remodel back to the traditional style. It's not that 20-yard fairways, 6 inches of rough, premium to hit your tee shot in the fairway, right? That's not how these last couple of US Opens have been.
Yeah.
It's you put the ball in the fairway, and now if you can hit your ball on balls, it's all about precision ball striking and trying to make a couple putts.
Yeah. I mean, also the fact is when you think about a US Open that goes out west, most of the time these guys have played this course in some sort of fashion in terms of another tournament, right? Torrey Pines. What's that? State Farm, I think.
Oh yeah, Torrey Pines was the other one where John Rahm kind of won pretty with a decent number too.
Right. So like they typically play that course already prior. Pebble Beach. Pretty sure that's where the Pro Am is, if I'm
Yeah,
not
Pebble Beach
mistaken.
they play yearly. Torrey
Okay,
Pines they play yearly.
so that's your two west already. That is usually typically a U.S. Open, and then you had the Los Angeles now and the Olympic Club. Like
And the
after
Olympic
that,
Club doesn't get used often. It's more of an exclusive, just like
sure, sure. But then you come to the East Coast, or more, you know, eastern side of the United States, right? And you have Bethpage Black, which I believe there's no courses or no tournaments on Bethpage Black at all.
no.
They have Marion, local Philadelphia there. Tight course, but there's no tournaments there. They have Oakmont, no tournaments there. Um, what else am I missing here? I think that's kind of it. I mean, they had Congressional, but I think Congressional gets played, if I'm not mistaken.
They usually play a tournament there, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I just think like that's also an advantage when you go out west is you've played these courses or can play these courses, right? Usually in a tournament fashion in terms of, like we said, State Farm and the Pro Am. So I think that gives them also an advantage.
But none of them had seen it LA Country Club. So what's your impression of it? Did you not like it then? You hated the setup?
No, like I mean, it's interesting, right? It gives you, it has your feel. It rewarded good shots, and it killed you on your bad shots, and that's how the U.S. Open should be. I just felt like it was some type of way if guys are out there shooting 62s. We've never seen that ever in a
Right.
U.S.
And
Open before.
Fleetwood had multiple putts on Sunday for 62 as well. He
Yeah.
shot 63. So
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I've always been a big. I like the U.S. Open. I do. I mean, I guess this question, and let's put this out there. Out of the four majors, which one's your one, two, three, and four? Like, which one would you rather sit down and watch? Not play, because obviously everybody's gonna pick Augusta to play. Yes, I get it. But like to sit down and watch
watch.
one, two, three, four. What are you doing?
Number one's Augusta. It's the Masters for me.
Sure, I'm in the same boat.
Number two is actually the Open Championship.
God damn. Yeah, I'm the same way.
I am fascinated by the Open Championship every time. Fascinated. Then I would probably say U.S. Open, then the PGA.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way. I have the same answer with you. I was trying to fight you maybe a little bit, but here we are. I'm not Stephen A. Smith, so I completely agree. Like I love watching the Open because it's just a whole different game of golf, right? It's a completely different game of golf. But the U.S. Open gives you that like tough feel of like you're going out with your Sunday with your buddies. You guys are playing a tough course, and you're just grinding it out, and that's what you want the PGA players to feel, right? And the
Yeah.
only way to do that is have these tough conditions. If you have guys going out there to shoot 62, it wasn't a tough conditions, I would assume.
Yeah, because you're thinking more of the PGA is more of the high score. You're going to have lower numbers out of the four majors. Usually it's the PGA.
Mhm.
Because every time the Open rolls in, there's going to be at least one day of weather. You can almost book it where it's going to be where it's going to be 25 miles an hour wind and you're going to get a deluge. And the one thing that they do over there is that across the pond is that they ain't canceling play unless something's really wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Get the rain gear out.
You're gonna go tough it out whether you like it or not, unlike they do it over here in the United States. So
Yep.
I mean, and then like Augusta's just like no other, right? Like you're even if you want to play it or you want to be there to watch it, you're just fascinated by how miraculous that golf course is.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the only one that doesn't change. So,
Yeah,
you know, the Open is, I guess, would be the closest, right? They kind of cycle through, I think, what, 6 golf courses or 5 golf courses, I think.
yeah, I believe so.
Um, so, but I completely agree. But all right, let's get back to the U.S. Open talk because we got a little sidetracked, and I apologize for that. But Wyndham Clark pulling it out. Um, Rory kind of choked it out. Rickie choked it out as well.
Oh
Truthfully,
man,
to say,
I was rooting for Rickie so hard. He was my guy, but I think all right, this is my dad and I had this conversation, right? We were watching. So we watched the end of the round Saturday, right? Because, like you said, it went way too freaking late. Made no sense why they did it that way. But I think it was because there was some TV stuff beforehand, before the tournament, like before the Open that day. Um, but I think it was tennis. I think tennis had was it the French Open that week? I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm just guessing now at this point.
not a
I'm
big
just
tennis player, so don't
yeah,
know.
I'm throwing shit out there.
I
Throwing
did play
junk out
pickleball
there.
this weekend, though. It was a
Yeah,
blast.
what do you
So.
think? What'd you think? I am
Great.
hooked. I am hooked on pickleball.
I I haven't played since high school, and
Well,
so
that's what I mean.
they had a clinic at the trailer site we're staying at. We had like 20, 25 people show up. And
Oh,
they had
okay.
like a guy out there and a lady that like was kind of teaching us the ropes, how the scoring goes, how this goes, how the rules go, and this, that, and the other thing. All right, we'll see how it goes. So they like we did a little warm up stuff like that. I was out there with the wife. She's like, the guy goes, all right, we're gonna do advanced or versus beginner. Like we're gonna split into groups. So my wife starts walking over to the beginners. So I was like, I was laying over here in the advanced. I think I'm a little better than most. And so we did that. But like, I mean, I held my own. You know what I mean? Hey, threw
Right
a couple
on.
serves over there. I'm a pinpointer, right? So when I get up in near that kitchen area, right, I'm looking to put that ball in certain areas. I'm not looking for a kill shot. I'm gonna put the ball in between you. I'm gonna make you
I
reach out to the right. That's how I play. I like
you're
it.
you're a big time volleyer. You're pinpoint placement.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm a sharpshooter. That's what I do.
That's what I like to see.
But no, it was a blast. We had a great time with it. I absolutely loved it. It's good. It's a fun game. It kicks your ass a little bit too. So
No, I've been playing on Wednesdays.
oh yeah,
Yeah, so I'm running a
wow.
sports league at the university for it.
Oh
And so like I'm like, all right. So like I just go, since I'm running the league, I have to be out there on Wednesday nights. So I'm just like, all right. So like if someone needs a partner, I'll just go hop in. And then all of a sudden I played like 3 games in a row. And I'm just like, huh, rats. Did not see that coming today. It's eight
killing it.
o'clock. I'm like, well, my students, y'all got it from here. I'm gonna go pass out. But no, it's a fun game. It's pretty it gets pretty because it's like a tennis, table tennis, and like badminton type hybrid thing. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, but it's tight. Like you ain't got to run like crazy amount,
No,
but like you do got to have some athleticism, right? Like
agreed.
you got to be agile. You got to be quick on the feet. And you also got to know where you are. Like, that's the other
Right.
thing. Like, sometimes I would step into the kitchen area when you weren't supposed to. I'm like, oh crap, I missed it. Sometimes
Oh
I'm trying
well.
to jump. You know what I mean? But I'm only 5'7", so I mean, me jumping's like, you know, jumping over a 2-foot fence. So, but
True.
um, before we get off the U.S. Open topic here and the pickleball topic here, um, Scotty Scheffler, right?
Right.
Really, really, really playing good ball right now. Really playing good golf. Did well in the PGA Championship. Did well in the Masters. Feels like every week he has a chance to win, right? Like, is he now becoming like that number one guy that you almost just like have to take the bet on or like have to pick because each and every week he's sitting like top five, it feels like top 10. I mean, there's weeks he wins, don't get me wrong, but like he's just there every week. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, he is the most pure ball striker we have in this game right now. I think you
Oh,
could probably argue between him and Rory, but I would take Scotty right now. And you can pretty much, and like he even knows his own weakness right now. If he could make a putt, he'd be winning every week. But like he was testing that a different putter during U.S. Open week. He still went with his regular one. He ends up finishing third. But yeah, you could lock him in for a top 10 every week. Like at Hartford this past weekend. I mean, I think he barely made the cut, and now he finished like fourth or something after he played lights out Saturday, Sunday. Like he's lightning in a bottle. Once he finds it in a round, because he's going to get the looks. The opportunities are going to be there. It's just if he gets the flat stick going, it's going to be the difference in him. So
yeah. I think I saw some stat on that Sunday, or that Saturday might have been like he only had like 24 feet of putts made, but like then he hit one on 18 or 17, and it was a 24 footer. So like it
yeah,
jacked
because
his like
he hold out 17, right? Hold
yeah,
out on 17, and then 18 he buried a 25 footer because Cam Smith gave him the read right on the putt before.
yeah, yeah. Another one, right? When it comes to majors, Cam's kind of the same way with Brooks, man. When it comes down to majors time, Cam Smith comes out and plays.
Yeah, you can lock
Like
him for a top 10 week in, week out too.
yeah. And hey, he's coming up, the Open, a couple weeks away. The reigning champ. Can he defend it? I mean, you gotta like the odds there, right? I mean, he's playing good ball. So
I think he's the most pure putter we have right now in the game.
yeah, great swing, great flow of hair too. So good for him.
Luscious locks. But I want to jump back to Rickie really fast before we switch gears here to NBA. What do you make of it? What happened with Rickie? What is your takeaway there? Do you think because like I said, like before we jumped onto pickleball, my my dad and I were watching Saturday. He three putted right on 18. So I thought that was in his head. And that never leaves a player the right way off the golf course, right? It gives you that bitter taste in your mouth. And then Sunday, every single member in that man's extended family was at the golf course and was all over him before he walked to that first tee. And my dad literally just goes, he's choking today. There is no way with that amount of pressure with he was at least 15, 20 deep with family because he's from Marietta, right? About probably an hour within an hour.
Yeah,
And my dad was like, you can book it. I mean, because he just looked like his family was just on top of him before he even got to that first tee. And then he missed that. I think he missed his first tee shot. And my dad was like, yep, he's done. You can. I was like, wow. And then you just watch the round unfold. And the man could just not get it going after playing flawless for about the first 53 holes, right? So,
yeah. Uh, so I got a little bias here because like I got real annoyed with Ricky over the last 2-3 years now. I think the hype was just too hype for him. He
mm,
started. I was kind of at the point where I'm like, buddy, like may just be time to kind of look on and but like he's starting to rejuvenate his career a little bit this season actually. He comes out and shoots 62, and you're like, all right, hey Ricky, like maybe this is it, right? Comes out shoots 62 and then drops a little 68 bomb on Friday. Coming into still kind of the lead, and then yeah, like you said, like Saturday kind of dwindled off at the end, right? And Sunday comes around, and that's where big time players make big time plays, and he just didn't really do it. And the funny part is he still had a chance. Like coming into that back nine, he still had a chance to hold his own, potentially win it. Like I remember sitting there, and I think it was, I want to say hole 12 or hole 13 he was on. And I think he was only down 2 to 3 strokes to Wyndham at the time. And he puts one into the rough. And I mean, the rough was thick as day there, right? 6, 7 inches thick. And he was buried. And I'm like, if he gets it on the green and makes the birdie, then he's got a shot. But if he walks out of here par or worse, like he's done. And I remember he had to like kind of he couldn't even go for the green. He had to hack job it out. Then he had like got it up onto the green. I think he walked out with bogey. And it was just I'm like, yeah, Rickie's done from here. Then it just came down. It was a kind of a 2-man race between Wyndham and Rory at the time. But yeah, I just felt like me and my buddy were talking on Thursday, right? He goes out and shoots 62, and he texted me and he goes, "So Rickie's gonna blow this lead, right?" And I go, "Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna shoot like 3 over or something like that over the next like day or so." And what did he finish? He finished at 5 under, so he shot 3 over for the next 3 days.
He was 5 over the last 2 days.
Yeah. So.
And he was 5 over technically just the last day because he shot even par on Saturday.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I like Rickie. I do. It's just like, buddy, you got to figure it out. Like, everyone's talking about a swing change, which is great. His putting is all different. He's got a long putter now. And it kind of backfired on because Wyndham Clark, I think, is using that now, and he ended up winning.
He was playing a practice round with Rickie and saw the putter, and he was like, "Hey, can I test this out?" And he got the exact same putter as Rickie did.
Yep. So, and that's one thing to keep an eye on too, as well, with the longer putters. I mean, Keegan Bradley won today, who's also a longer putter guy, right? Kind of does something similar to Rickie. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, if the Open, right? If somebody wins with a longer putter, maybe that's going to be the new trend of things, with these longer putters now. You know how the trends work in golf. So,
of course.
But yeah, to go back to it, I mean, great round to shoot one round, but golf isn't based on 18 holes. It's based on 72, right?
Right.
You got to hold it together for 4 straight days. And yeah, he just didn't do it. That's all can be said.
Yeah, very true. I was just more upset that my dad was like, I called this. He was so proud of himself. He was just like, I was like, congratulations. Happy Father's Day, Pops.
That's great. That's great. Could be worse. My dad told me he's in the prime of his life right now. That's what he told me. So. Yeah, I had the same reaction. So, yeah, here we are.
Good old Mr. Chick.
Yeah, meanwhile, he just got done telling me that he always aches. His body aches after golf. And I'm like, buddy, I don't know if that means you're in the prime of your life. So, it was incredible stuff to hear on Father's Day. So, well,
shout out to all the dads out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of the dads that we're going to talk about next is probably real proud of their sons. The NBA draft happening a couple days ago. A lot of stars coming out. A lot of people from different colleges, different G leagues, overseas, and much, much more. But I think the big 3 that we know and are going to have the biggest impact, it probably start as well as the first 3 picks. Wembyama, Brandon Miller, and Scoot Henderson. Wembyama going to the Spurs, Scoot going to the Blazers, Miller going to the Hornets. What's your thoughts on all 3 of them picks, and what do you think? Maybe career-wise, what do you think is going to go on for them?
I thought the 3 picks went exactly the way I kind of predicted it with it. I think they were the 3 kind of clear front runners, right? You had Wembanyama as the overall number 1 by a mile, right? Then you could have gone. I think Charlotte had a real predicament, right? If they were going to go Miller or Henderson, but you've got LaMelo Ball. That kind of outlies going another point guard, right? Especially with already having Rozier playing as a point guard that now is basically a combo guard there, right? So for Charlotte, I think they needed to eliminate guard play, so that kind of took that out of their hands, and why I think Miller's a bit better fit, especially with now the situation if Bridges ends up potentially going on the trading block, right? If Charlotte doesn't get off to a decent start, you still have Miller there. And he's a clear athlete, but Michael Jordan, his last move basically as owner of the Hornets too, before he relinquishes the team. So that's also a kind of a small story there. Goat, let's see if he can live up to the GOAT's expectations, right? So, and then when it comes to Portland, I think the bigger situation now becomes, what do you do with Damian Lillard now, right? You've basically clicked that button where it's time for the rebuild by picking Henderson and not trading the number 3 pick for us trying to get a star to go play with Lillard. And you took Henderson, great prospect, has all the tools, right? I think he still needs to work out on his outside jump shot, but Lillard's not there for a rebuild. The writing's kind of been on the wall there since they traded CJ McCollum. So what do you do with Lillard? But I think the 3 picks went they want. San Antonio is going to be ecstatic for the next 15 years. It's basically David.
Man. You hear the rumors, right?
I've heard it, but I think it's David Robinson, Tim Duncan all over again with them in
No,
San
no,
Antonio.
no, no. So they had the photo shoot with him.
Why? Because he couldn't make a shot in the photo shoot? My freaking God. Quit stirring the pot. It's like we work in the media. Oh, wait, that's what we do right now. But shut up, bro. You are. I can't with you. It's your turn. Go. Freaking loser.
No, I like it. Wembanyama's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be as good as people may say.
No, I don't think he's going to be. Everyone thinks he's going to be the next Greek freak, right? I don't think he's going to be that. I think that's a big stretch.
No, I mean, he's got the body of Chet Holmgren right now, who, God forbid Joel Embiid bodies him up. Holy crap.
Did you see what Chet Holmgren said on social media last week?
No, what'd he say?
They were saying who's like the best NBA player right now, and Chet Holmgren goes, me, when I get healthy. Shut up, bro.
Buddy's got to go hit the buffet, truthfully enough. He's got to hit the all-you-can-eat buffet and gain some weight, just like Wembanyama. Take him with you. Because these boys, look, they're 7'4", but they're twigs right now. They gotta get their body up, and kind of get a little muscle behind him. Look, they could shoot the rock, right? Good for him. He's got all the offensive moves. But welcome to the NBA. Pat Bev might even be on him stealing a ball from behind. You better watch out there. But no, I like Wembanyama. I don't know if the hype's going to be as it is. I mean, they were talking about like Bron James coming out. I'm like, I don't know about that. All right, but I think he's gonna be a really good prospect. I think it's gonna take him time though. I don't know if he's gonna be good like right off the bat. Like I think he might be 2-3 years away from getting up to that top 20 player of the league, right?
Right.
Brandon Miller, solid guy out of Alabama. Could shoot the rock a little bit. Good spot for the Hornets, like you said. They didn't want to go point guard just because they got LaMelo. They want to rock what they can. So good choice there. And then I think you hit it right on the head with Scoot, right? Like the Blazers took the pick, knowing that what do they want to do with Dame, right? Like they didn't trade that 3rd pick away. They should have if they wanted to continue on with Dame, but kind of like we took this Scoot pick, but is it at the point where maybe they're indecisive, right? Like, all right, we have Dame, we take Scoot, are we indecisive? Like we can kind of now go either way, right? Like we can go the draft lottery way if this year doesn't work out, or if Dame, say Dame and Scoot work out great, like we can kind of maybe get 2 or 3 more years out of Dame's prime and try to continue on and work together where, all right, we are rebuilding, but we also have a great playoff team working together. But I just think the West is too strong to even try to do that, truthfully.
Where would you send Dame? Where would you like to see him go?
Philadelphia 76ers.
Why do I even ask if he's just going to be a homer?
I mean,
all right. Realistically, do you think Philly can make the deal?
No, they got no shot. They got no picks. Who are they going to trade? Tobias Harris? Jesus Christ!
Tobias Harris and some James Harden.
Man. No, where he's gonna obviously has to go to a team that can win or wants to, or is able to win now, right? Like he's gonna have to go to a team. They're not gonna trade him in conference, so he's gonna go to the East
Right.
at the very least. I mean, the obvious one is Miami, right?
Oh yeah, send him to South Beach, baby.
I mean, it's
I
it's
want to
got to
see it.
be it's got to be Miami. And truthfully enough, I think it would be a great pickup for Miami because like they're able to play good ball together. They can play at least solid defense enough. But I mean, you saw in the NBA Finals, like it felt like they needed another scorer. Like they needed somebody that can like flat out score the rock, and
Hmm.
that's what Dame can give you. And if Jimmy Butler was the second guy like in command in terms of scoring, I think that would help out Jimmy tremendously in his career in Miami, and I think it would help out Miami just in general. But yeah, I think like the if I had to put a nail into the hammer and slap it up on the wall and say who is it? Yeah, Miami all the way.
All right, I like that. I like that. I think Miami's kind of the dark horse, right? At this point, to kind of, if he gets moved, will they make a move? Because they've kind of established not going that route, right? Kind of building their team through undrafted players, grooming them, stuff like that. But if there was a team to make a splash, I think it would be the Miami Heat, no doubt about it.
I don't even think it comes down to like they're the dark horse. I think they are in the horse race, no questions about it,
I
because
don't
they
know because what? It's probably Miami. Then you
yeah, but
probably
they
have
have
the
the capital to do it, right? They have
right.
the draft capital, and they also have some young players they can give up. I mean, I hear every single day I go on Twitter, Tyler Hero for this person, Tyler Hero for that person, Tyler Hero for this person. I'm like, look, Tyler Hero is good, and but they're giving them away like it's Halloween. You're giving out candy. It's like
Right.
Jesus, dude, relax. Like the buddy can play a little bit, um, but yeah, like I said, he's not going to get traded to the West. He's got to
Yeah.
come East.
Yep.
Then you got to look at the players from there. Like, okay, could he fit with this team, or would the team even be able to trade him? Miami's really the only one that ever comes to my mind, unless the Bucks do something, but I don't think
Right.
they will. I
Unless it's
truly
like a sign and trade with from Middleton and some extra stuff, right? So
correct. So I don't see that happening. Truthfully, that's why. And a lot of the other teams I think just aren't there yet, aren't ready yet. So yeah, that's what I would say. Miami though is my bad pick. So
and speaking of trades, we had some massive splashes in the NBA coming these right before the NBA draft as it pertains to some trades. I'm gonna run through some of these big ones that have taken place, and I kind of want to just get Joe, what is the trade that was the biggest one to you? Of course, the first one that made some noise is that Bradley Beal is going to Phoenix to create Kevin Durant's fourth attempt at a big three. He will be playing alongside Devin Booker and KD, Bradley Beal, as that sent Chris Paul and Landry Shamet and some second round picks to the Wizards. And then within probably 36 hours, Chris Paul was on the move. He's coming to the Bay. And the Wizards are going to get Jordan Poole as well as a 2030 first rounder and a 2027 second rounder. So Chris Paul probably never even left the West Coast. And then the other major move was made by the Boston Celtics, where they traded away Marcus Smart in a 3-team deal that brought in, as Joe says, the Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis comes in, and the Wizards get Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, and Mike Muscala. And the Memphis Grizzlies end up getting Marcus Smart. Joe, out of these 3 deals that have taken place in this last week, what is the one that has you raising some eyebrows moving
how does
forward?
it feel as a Warriors fan to give up a 25-year-old a first round pick and a second round pick for a 38-year-old almost in a nursing home Chris Paul? That's what I want to know. That is my ultimate burning question here.
Okay. My honest opinion, I'm going to be honest, I was very spur of the moment hyped when that trade went through. I was ecstatic. But then as I looked into the trade a little bit more, I've kind of come back to reality a little bit. I know we've kind of talked about it, and I've been pretty adamant that Jordan Poole had to go, especially with how the Warriors kind of want to keep this core group together for another 2 years, it seems like, and try and bring Draymond back. It was going to be one or the other. Someone was going to get dealt, and with how Jordan Poole kind of shit the bed, to kind of put it nicely, this season, and especially in this postseason, writing was on the wall that Draymond was going to be the one coming back. So you ship him away, right? And then you get a Chris Paul who doesn't really fit the style of how we play basketball. We're a team that wants to play fast-paced, up-tempo, run and gun, get up and down the court. And we saw it in Phoenix, especially this postseason, that Phoenix played better with Chris Paul out because they were able to play at a more of a higher tempo. Chris Paul wants to control the pace, slow it down, be more methodical in the front court when it comes to basketball. So I think it's going to be a unique situation, right? He's definitely coming off the bench. There's no way we're going to start him. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how Steve Kerr utilizes him, because I honestly have no idea how it's going to work. It's going to put Steph Curry and Clay more off the ball, right? But we've just cut, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but 38-year-old Chris Paul is honestly a better defender than Jordan Poole. That's how bad Jordan Poole was at playing defense. So, but I like it. I don't love it, right? I think it was an inevitable move. I didn't think Chris Paul was going to be the move. I thought they were going to go for more young core wing players, but not upset with it.
All right. Yeah, I had to get your input there. I didn't really know what was going on with that when I saw that.
Oh, you
Enough,
should have seen me. I was running up and down the freaking work, and everyone was like, "I can't believe Chris Paul got to the Warriors." And I'm just like doing like my Rocky chant up and down the building. And then I'm like, I got home. I was like, all right, I've kind of come back to reality here. This is not as great of a deal as I thought it was.
yeah. Truthfully enough, I will say this. I think the Warrior or not the Warriors. I think the Wizards though really like won a trade and then kind of lost the trade. I thought
Okay.
I thought the Jordan Poole actually was a really good trade for them, right? Like
Yeah.
Chris Paul wasn't going to stay on the team, right? They
No,
were going to
he
probably
would
get
not.
rid of him one way or another.
Correct.
Now, understandable, you are taking on Jordan Poole's contract. Jordan Poole might average 40 points though this year, but he's going to
Oh, he's
have
gonna
like
get.
60 shots on this team.
Oh, he's gonna
Um,
shoot. He's gonna have the green light all night long.
Absolutely, and I think that's kind of what he needs, especially on a team like the Wizards, right? But I think the Wizards can kind of evaluate him more over these next year or two, just because they're going to be bad, right? Like they're going to be horrific. But if Jordan Poole can kind of find himself, he potentially could be like that superstar in Washington, right? Maybe this is what they were finding. They also acquired a first round pick, another really solid deal. I think all around, I think they're really really good trade. Now on the flip side, their really really bad trade was the one to the Suns. They got away with essentially nothing. I thought Landry Shamet is a solid player. He's a role player. Solid guy. Play a little 3-and-D. I don't know how much longer he's under contract for, but essentially to give away in superstar Bradley Beal for kind of nothing, truthfully, pennies on the dollar. And look, I know you never get the return you want when you trade a superstar away. I completely understand that. And I know they're getting a crap ton of kind of picks back as well. But like I don't know, to me that was their really really bad kind of like lost trade. And I guess you win some and you're going to lose some, right? And Beal just didn't want to be there, didn't want to really play there anymore. Now, granted, he chose that in the end. We talked about this 2 years ago. Or I know myself, I talked about it 2 years ago because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, great if he comes to Philly. But he chose going back to Washington.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But yeah, I thought Washington was a win and loss, like I just explained. I think I know you really liked it, but I think Memphis really made out a great deal with getting Marcus Smart. Kind of that leader in Boston. Now hopefully can be that leader in Memphis now. Not having to bring back like Dylan Brooks in that case now as
yeah.
well, and potentially take a little bit off of Ja's hands maybe. Um, and from that case, but I also think Boston made out pretty decent too, right? Like
I think that
Marcus.
trade was the most even keeled trade, and I think all three teams really won.
See, the only thing I don't know enough about Tyus Jones to say anything because I remember he
He,
was in that backup role.
I believe from what watching him play, he is either the best or second best backup point guard in the game. Like he is a fringe
Okay.
starter. He will probably be their starting point guard this year.
Okay.
So I actually liked the trade for Washington. I think it gave value to getting Porzingis off their books once they knew that Beal was gone, right? That was the next step. Um, then you get for Memphis, like you just nailed right on the head. Like Marcus Smart's he will he will hold that team accountable. Like I think he, from a leadership perspective, is gonna reel in those young boys. I really do. I think Ja needs him more than anyone. But I think he's gonna reel Ja Morant in. He's gonna be like, all right, you've got that energy, you've got that ability and belief. We just got to control that on the basketball court now, right? So I think that's going to help them. And then, like with Washington, with their rebuild, they need young pieces, and Tyus Jones going to be Shamit, Poole. All that's going to be a nice little help for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't that trade. I was just like, yeah, kind of a solid trade. Like I said, didn't know enough about Tyus Jones to kind of give an input, but
Right.
Chris Dapp is really going to fit well in that Boston, kind of system, truthfully enough, because now you can kind of get Al Horford out of that like power forward shooting range kind of guy. And Chris Dapp will definitely be able to knock home probably a crap ton more threes. In that case, however, them losing Marcus Smart also is going to kind of hurt him, especially in that point guard role or shooting guard role coming off the bench or that dog mentality in the playoffs, kind of like that PJ Tucker for the Sixers, right? Like able to withstand a little bit and, able to defend the toughest guy on the other side of the ball. I mean, truth be told, Marcus Smart played really well against the Sixers and probably was maybe the second best player in that series behind Jaylen Brown. Tatum at times didn't even look that good.
Right.
Um, in the Miami Heat series, he, kind of played well as well, played solid ball. So it's gonna be a tough loss for them, but getting Chris Dapps isn't a bad thing. Get a big man that can shoot the rock. So I don't
Right.
think it was a bad move by them. But yeah, that's my input for all three of them. So
What do you think? Where does this put the Suns? I think this trade makes them. I don't think it makes them any better than they already were, because they now have zero depth that they already had no depth from the Kevin Durant trade. You just keep cleaning your house out. It feels like it's Kevin Durant just keeps getting reeled into a big three situation over and over again, and it's only worked once in Golden State, right? So
yeah, like it feels like to me it's kind of like what the Rams did, 2, 3 years ago. It was like we're going all in for this NBA, going all in for the NFL championship. And I feel like that's what the Suns are doing. They're going all in for this next year or two.
mhm.
Well, I guess when Durant leaves, they still got a chance, right? Beal's, I think he's 30 or 31 right now.
Beal's still in
And
his prime, yeah.
Booker's, Jesus Christ, just old enough to drink still, um, which is wild to think about. Oh,
Yeah.
that's another question. Before we move on, I do need to ask you that. But yeah, I agree. Like they have no depth. I don't know who the hell their point guard is right now. Um, so yeah, they got no depth, but it's also comes down to this. Like,
I think it's the new owner's high, man. They got that new owner, and he made the Kevin Durant trade, and he's already made a Bradley Beal trade. He's selling it. He's going like you said. Very reminiscent of what Steve Ballmer did when he took over the Clippers.
It's also the fact the matter is there's only one ball. That's my other thing. There's only one ball.
And you got 3 ISO dominant players.
Exactly. Exactly. I would say if anything, Booker at least can play off the ball a little bit. Beal needs the ball. Kevin Durant needs the ball. I don't know. I don't know if it really works out 100%. Do I think they're probably a top 3 team in the West? Yeah, absolutely. No questions about it. But you damn well know Kevin Durant's going to miss 25 games next year.
Yep,
Doesn't matter.
can't stay healthy. Correct.
He's missing 25. Booker's going to have to drop like 40 most nights.
Beal hasn't stayed very healthy these last couple of years either.
Exactly.
They're a definition of health, like the Clippers.
Yeah. Yeah, no good. Before we wrap it up, I do have a question. I kind of been thinking about this one over the last 2 weeks now, right?
Okay. What you got?
So LeBron James is 38, 39 years old. Most likely will be on his way out in the next 3 years, probably, I would say. Maybe 4. Whatever it may be. If you have your opinion there, that's not the point of the question here. My question though is, if you had to choose over these next 5 to 10 years, who the next face of the NBA, the LeBron James of the last 15, 20 years, Michael Jordan kind of before that, then you had Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Remember, you always had like that one star, right? I mean, you could even put Shaq and Kobe kind of in there as well.
Right.
If you had to choose one player, you're going to the sports book, and you're going to place a bet on one player, boom, that's going to be it for the next 5 to 10 years now. Who would it be?
Man. See, that's a tough question, right? Because they got to be able to sell the brand that is the NBA. So you can eliminate Jokic right off the bat, even though he's the best player in basketball right now.
Yep.
He is the best player for the last, 3 to 4 years now?
I don't know. The Freak's still up there.
2, 3 years. I think the Freak's probably I would go the Freak. If you're talking right now, I'm taking probably Giannis or Luka.
Okay.
I'd probably say Giannis because he does more and his team's more relevant, right? Okay. You need relevance to kind of sell that brand that is the NBA. And with that press conference that he kind of that he had about the failure stuff, right? He's kind of brought in more of fans, and they both kind of have that international brand of growing the game of basketball. And that's what Adam Silver really wants to do in these next couple of years, is to potentially expand to a couple more teams. I would probably have to say Giannis would be if you had to pick right now, it'd be Giannis Antetokounmpo.
So 5 and 10 years, you would still go Giannis.
All right, maybe not 10 years, but 5. Next 5, I would go Giannis.
Okay. I want to hear 10 though. 10's the big question.
10, I really couldn't tell.
Because Giannis is like, I don't know.
What is he, 27?
Yeah, 28, 27, 28. So that's going to be more on the downward spiral at that point.
Right. So he's out at that point. 10 years. I'm trying to think someone who's in their early 20s, right? Like really early 20s.
Because so this was my mindset.
Are you thinking? I mean, I really want to I would say Job with all the stuff that's now freaking happening. You gotta take him out of that conversation.
Okay.
I would go John Morant though, because he's a living highlight reel, right?
Sure.
And then Luka's what? He's 20. How old's Luka? Is he 25? 25, 26?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I think Devin Booker is about 25, 26, right? So they're all in that same range.
Luka's 24.
Luka's 24. So I could see Luka Doncic maybe still at 10 years. In 10 years.
All right.
You could make that argument. You're trying to think of someone that thinks the brand. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking about if you're just going based off of pure box office, I would have to say Devin Booker or John Morant, right? Box office, you're gonna want to go watch this guy play basketball. Because John's gonna give you at least a couple highlights. Devin Booker's a walking bucket.
All right.
But Man, that 10-year one has me stumped. It really does.
All right.
What do
All
you
right.
what do you have for what do you got? 5 and 10.
So this is the reason why I thought this, right? Because it feels like every year, like they're like, oh, a new phenomenon's coming out, right? You got
Right.
Trey Young, kind of 2, 3 years ago, they thought was maybe going to be it when he brought the Hawks to the Eastern
Wembenyama
Conference
10 years
Finals.
down the road.
Yeah, Wembyana. They thought about, Luca, right, as well. Luca had a solid, past 2 years. Last year was rough. Kind of fell off a little bit. Then Ja the year before,
Sure.
just the phenomenon, like you said, like the highlight reel. But we're not talking about a man who entered in at 19 years old. He is 24 years old, four-time All-Star already, has been to a finals, has been to multiple Eastern Conference finals, and wears that ugly green and white up in Boston in Jason Tatum. I like that was it for
Oh,
me.
okay.
It's Tatum for me. I mean,
I like
if you
that.
think about it like that, he's 25 years old, so he's just right there with Luka. He's right there with Booker. He's has been kind of running a little bit the East, right? I know he doesn't have that like aggressiveness that LeBron had when he first came in the league, but like LeBron didn't make it to the finals that early, or actually, excuse me, didn't have that much success as feel like as Tatum has had the last 4 to 5 years now.
Sure.
LeBron struggled a little bit to start, but I think when it comes to likableness, I think people like that. Small forward fits the perfect role of the LeBron James, right? Not a big man, not a small guy.
Right.
Um, Went to a well-known college, which people always are going to back Duke. Unfortunately. I think it's the Sixers mentality in me, but like, I mean, I hate Boston, but I know a lot of people like Boston, right? And it's just the history side of it there, where Larry Bird came up to be, KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen had that whole realm, Bill Russell back in the day. So I think there's that side of Tatum as well. But I think he markets the NBA really, really well. I think he makes valid points though about like Greek and Luca, more the overseas sides of things. But I think when it comes down to it, I think
Um, I think we just lost Joe.
there he is. He's back now.
Yo,
I was just gonna.
what just happened?
You froze, dude. What the fuck?
I froze, you froze.
Oh, well, you froze too. I don't know. I was giving out the. I was like, hey, everybody, let us know what player you think. That's the point I was at. You're back to recording.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
where you ended me at, but that's. I just think it's Jason Tatum is my answer there. So, um,
All right, for both 5 and 10.
yeah, yep, Jason Tatum. I just think the success of him winning and that mentality is just there, and I think it's just unprecedented. I mean, you're talking about Luka, right? Missed the playoffs this year.
Right.
I don't think Tatum has missed the playoffs, maybe in his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just my 2 cents there for you, truthfully. So, but folks listening, please reach out to us because I'd love to hear who you think. Right? I mean, there's a lot of fans, or excuse me, a lot of people that you could put in that realm. If
Mm-hmm.
you trust the older factor of Greek Freak, um, yeah, that's an answer. Jokic, right? You said that as well. Devin Book, Luca, Trey Young, maybe does he turn it around? Oh, God forbid the baby mama issues with Zion Williams down there in New Orleans. I mean, you got him too as well. You got Wembyana just got drafted. There's a lot of people you could choose from. But for me, it's Jason Tatum. But I'd like to hear who the folks out there have as well. So, um, yeah, Blaine, we ran into a little technical Wi-Fi issues. That's what you get for living in out there in Utah and in New
Oh,
Jersey here.
here we go.
So a little separation issues, guy's not able to pay for his Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, folks. That's all right. What you gonna do here?
Sometimes you're living on it. Sometimes you're living month to month. Okay, don't
Yeah,
don't take it
times are
out on
tough.
me.
Times are tough. Times are tough. But hey, we're here. We're back on the final whistle. We're gonna be coming back weekly, folks. I said it earlier. It's a depressing time in sports right now, but we're gonna find something to talk about here in sports. Maybe we got to get back into Maybe we'll get back into pickleball though. Maybe we'll find a new sport next week to give it a try. So,
Hey, maybe it's cricket next week.
oh,
So,
cricket's a hell of a watch. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy watching it. So, um,
actually, you a cricket
yeah,
guy?
oh yeah, I used to watch it in college a little
We'll
bit.
do a little
Uh,
cricket tutorial maybe next week.
all right, I don't know about all that. All right, now take it easy there. But yeah, so stay tuned. Come back. Let us know about the NBA stuff. I mean, the NBA within the next 5 to 10 years, if you can. Reach out to us. Let us know. I'd love to hear your input, and we'll definitely talk about it here on the podcast next week. So we'll be back next week on another episode here, The Final Whistle. Blaine Spencer, the host, Joe Ciccoletti, the other host, Blaine Spencer. Hopefully his Wi-Fi works next week, and we'll be back ready. I don't know about better than ever, but hopefully better than today. So, all right, folks, take it easy, y'all, from The Final Whistle.